Since I was a kid, I feel like I was not going to live there all my life. I decided to go for US.
How did this idea come to your mind?
I consider myself as a smart woman. I have my career.
What was the most challenging?
Money. Money, for sure.
Money is everywhere. Do you remember the hardest time?
He told me multiple times he was gonna send me to Mexico.
What was the reason for him to say that? What he wanted?
Because I wanted to live, that I had to run away with nothing. If I don't want this situation to happen to me again, the only thing I have in control right now in my hands is myself. This was my dream. I cannot do anything else. I did it all.
Jessica, what inspired you to move to the United States?
Well, since I was a kid, I feel like, so I was born and raised in Mexico City. And I feel like since I was a kid, I was always with that mindset that I was not going to live there all my life, you know? So I remember I used to tell my parents I was going to live in another country. And my dad was always telling me, you know, you are going to do whatever you can imagine, right? So as I kept growing, my life took me to technology, to the technology field. And then from there, I saw that there was a possibility for me to live in another country. So when I was 24 years old, I decided to apply within the company where I was working to two different opportunities. One was for Spain and the other one was for US. So they accepted me for both.
Both of them. That's amazing.
So I was like, wow, what do I do, right? Going to Spain or US? So for me, for the challenge, you know, like a different culture and also different language, and also closer to my family, because I'm very close to my family, I decided to go for US. And then on January 2024, I moved here. And
you just moved?
I'm sorry, 2014.
2014, I was like, you just moved?
Yeah, no, I've been here for 10 years, yeah.
Okay. Oh, almost the same time I moved here.
Yeah? Yeah.
I moved in September
2014.
2014, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 10 years. What surprised you here for the first time?
Wow, well, when I moved here to Arizona was the first state where I was living. So for me, being from Mexico City, I was like very used to see people walking.
Yeah.
Here, you cannot go like walking anywhere.
Walkable.
Yeah, you have to drive, and also if you walk, it's too hot sometimes, you know, so you don't get to walk as much unless you go hiking. But yeah, that was my shock, my first shock. Like, why is nobody outside? Everybody was like in their cars or inside the buildings.
And what did you like about the US when you just came?
So I lived in San Francisco and also here. And what I like, I'm going to focus in Arizona because this is my place. I love it here. The weather is fantastic. Even though it's very hot, I feel like I got used to it. You can just like go outside in the sunlight and then just go to the pool. I don't know, life is very relaxing here. So
comparable to San Francisco?
To San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco for me was too cold. But I was already used to this weather. So for me, when I went to San Francisco, I was like, oh no, this is too cold for me. I'm just coming back home. Because this is home for me now.
Your company that hired you, was it in Arizona or San Francisco?
I'm sorry?
The company that hired you? You said that you applied for two companies. Right?
Yeah. So when I moved here, this company is an Indian company, and they had different offices around the world. So Initially, I was working in Mexico City, and then they opened an office here in Arizona, in Phoenix. So that's why I moved here to Arizona.
Why did you go to San Francisco?
Oh, that's a different story. So when I was working in this company, I eventually quit. I started my own business. And
so you moved and you started to work for this company, and then you quit.
I quit.
How many years later you quit?
Like 3 years later.
3 years later. Why did you quit?
I quit because while I was working with them, I also started a business with my then partner, and this business was doing really, really good. It was car detailing.
Car detailing.
Car detailing. And I was just at that point of my life where I didn't want to work for someone else, and I wanted to own my own time. So I decided to quit because I was already at that point financially where I was able to, right? So that's what happened. I also learned a lot from the IT company, right? To make all the processes and sales, because I was in sales and all the business part of things. So when I started my own business, I did put that into practice with my own company.
For the car sales, right?
Car sales.
That's why you moved to San Francisco?
No?
We will be back to San Francisco.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, when you started your business, what kind of steps did you take to start it? Let's say somebody wants to do the same you did, you know?
Of course, like the legal part, right? Like all the paperwork, you have to create a corporation or like LLC, depending on what you are looking for. And depending on the state, you just go to the corporation part of the state where you are located at. You select a name, you create the LLC or the corp, depending on where you're going for. And then you go for the EIN number. Well, that's with the legal part, right?
Yep.
Then, for me, we started buying a bunch of trucks, work trucks.
Okay.
And we bought the equipment. But of course, we didn't have like that kind of money at that time. So we required a loan at that moment. So we got the trucks, all the equipment. We hired people. We started with 2 people. And then it was my partner and myself. So it was 4 people.
How much money do you need to have to start this business?
So for this business, honestly, it was really, I'm going to say cheap, because we only needed around $8,000. And especially when it comes to the, immigrant community, you have so much help sometimes. So you just get to people, in my case, for the work trucks, for example, we got them from dealerships that were owned by immigrants as well. So they help you a lot to get the financial part of the vehicle. So, So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. And what happened next?
So next, we were doing really well. But also, since I quit my job, I was only depending on this business, right?
Yeah.
And my relationship at that point with my partner at that time, it started to be very problematic, very toxic. And then he started being very controlling to the point that I was not allowed to touch any money.
Was he from Mexico, from America?
American.
American.
He was American.
Okay.
And then, so I was married to him, and then he started I was like, I don't appreciate how you are treating me. I think I'm just going to, go away.
Have you ever felt like underappreciated by American because he's an American and you're a Mexican?
Absolutely. 100%. He used to make comments like that, like, you're just a Mexican, you owe me my the status here. And I was just like, for me, you have the business, like, it's not like I was needing him because I had already a good job. I was already very independent, like financially, making even more money than him. So it was just like, not like that at all. But I feel like because of all these narratives that immigrants just come here and they were pretty much like the non-wanted guest. This kind of hate creates these kind of comments, right?
Yeah.
Or culture, I don't know. But I do remember he used to make threats as well for, I'm a green card holder. And he used to be like, I'm just going to say that you marry me illegally. And like...
What was the reason for him to say that? What he wanted?
Because I wanted to live. I wanted to live after, so we were married, right? And after a while, he was just treating me really wrong, like very wrong, like abusive, physically, economically, like all the ways of abuse he was putting on me, right? So yeah, at that point I was just like, I don't need this life. So it was one point of my life that it was too bad that I had to run away from my home at that point with nothing. That's why I went to California, San Francisco, because I escaped.
Did he abuse you?
Yes.
He did?
Yes. So I had to save my life, and I didn't want him to find me. So I moved to San Francisco.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
It just didn't make any sense to me. When you said that you moved to Arizona, then San Francisco, I was confused.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I moved to San Francisco. I lived there for 1 year, and I was very blessed to have a family there who helped me. Because this is a part where, it's very hard to ask for help. Very, very hard sometimes. Especially when you are like growing as an independent woman, that you want to prove that you are, strong. And
you can do everything by yourself.
Everything, right.
Were you ashamed of what happened in your life?
Absolutely. I was extremely
Did you
ashamed.
tell anybody? No?
No, nobody knew. I was ashamed because it's always this, how do you call it? These labels that we put on people when they are going through this. And I was one of those. So I really don't blame anyone for thinking anything about people who goes through domestic violence. Because I used to think, they are weak. I would leave them if I was you. But when I was in that situation, I don't even know in what moment it happened. I consider myself as a smart woman. I have my career. I have my MBA. Like,
you never thought it could happen
I
to you,
never
right?
thought. I never thought. So when this happened to me, I was like, I felt dumb. I was like, why? Like, I just didn't understand. So because I was feeling that way, I thought if I share this with someone else, they were going to think the same about me, and I didn't want that. So yeah, that's what happened. And then I was just at that point where I learned that asking for help doesn't make you weak, but instead it makes you stronger, because that's the point where you are accepting that something is wrong in your life and that in fact you cannot do it all. Sometimes you need someone to help you. And it's just like a cycle, because just as you help people, others can help you as well. And it just keeps happening like that, and it's okay.
What helped you to understand? Because you said at that point you couldn't understand how you got in this situation, right? You felt like it was normal, I feel, right?
At one point, yeah.
At one point, because if it happened, it means that you didn't notice it, right? It was normal for you.
Right.
That's how it happens usually.
Right.
And what helped you to understand that something was going wrong?
Right. So yeah, I feel like I normalized it a lot, and I still had the hope that things could change if I did things different. If I did, so I feel like I just kept trying to change myself constantly to make this person love me, and it was
to accommodate his needs.
Exactly.
Right? Okay.
So when I realized that literally didn't matter anything I did, everything was wrong for him. It's when I was like, wow, at this point I cannot do anything else. I did it all. So accepting that I cannot control someone else's actions and accepting that I cannot change that person was the step number one. And the step number two was, if I don't want this situation to happen to me again, the only thing I have in control right now in my hands is myself. So I need to make the change.
Did he make you feel like you need to come back to Mexico?
He did. He did. He told me multiple times he was gonna send me to Mexico.
He's gonna send.
He was going to send me to Mexico, and I was just like, no, because this was my dream to just have that international exposure, and I was not gonna allow anybody to take that from me.
Good. That's good. What happened next when you moved to San Francisco?
So I started working with my uncle, and then I started connecting with people back home in Mexico, and then that's how I created my first company without my ex-husband, which was Q Talent.
Q Talent.
Q Talent. It's a headhunting firm. And then we help companies to work to find the best talent for like the C-levels and also specialties like technology, pharma, etc., etc.
That's awesome. How did this idea come to your mind?
Well, because when I started working, my first job was as a recruiter. So I already had the experience and also experience in sales. So I already knew a few people, and it was very easy to start it because I only needed my computer and a LinkedIn page, and honestly reaching people through that, through LinkedIn.
What was the most challenging in this situation for you?
Money. Money, for sure.
Money is everywhere.
Yeah, money for sure. So when I escaped from this abusive situation, I left with nothing. This person literally locked me out my accounts like I had nothing. And I also didn't want to reach to him because I knew what he wanted, that it was for me to come back. So he wanted to control me by not giving me access to, make me need him.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it. And I just prefer to struggle. And that's why my family helped me here, right? Like I lived for a little while with them.
That's good you had a family.
Yes, I'm very blessed. And I feel like, and not only my family, honestly, people that didn't even know me helped me. When they knew about my situation, because that's how I started speaking up about it. Like domestic violence and,
Why did you speak about it?
Where? There in San Francisco, when people were asking me, hey, what brings you here? I started talking about it. And not to put myself as a victim, but more for awareness. Because, as I said, I didn't know it was going to happen to me. And I feel like we all go in life thinking that nothing is going to happen to us. But when it happens, it just grabs you by surprise, and it's something that we don't have to go through if we have the tools that I didn't have, but I would like to share with people, like how to identify in what moment it happened. And now that I look back, things that I can see that I could have changed for it not to happen. However, I wouldn't change anything because that's what got me here. And that's how I founded BA Butterfly, which is my nonprofit.
I like this approach. Can you recommend to our viewers what should they do if they got in this situation?
If you are going through domestic violence, the first thing you have to do is go closer with your loved ones. Honestly, one of the first things that abusers do is take you away from them. And that's like the worst mistake we can do. Like, just, don't be in contact with our loved ones because that makes us weaker.
What if people don't have anybody, but they just by themselves here? Where should they go to?
Okay, so that was my case. Here in Arizona, I was by myself. I didn't have anybody. So what I recommend is community. There are so many nonprofits And also, like for immigrants, we can always go to our consulates. They provide a lot of help to us for us to not have to go through this kind of problems. They usually have programs that help their people to, I don't know, if you're going through domestic violence, they help you with some money for rent or with lawyers at lower costs. So it's many help out there that you can use.
Thank you. And I just want to go back to your new business. You said that the biggest challenge was money. Why and for what did you need money for?
Well, mostly for surviving. No, at that point it was
not for work.
No, for work I had my laptop and I had my, pretty much my computer was my place of work, right? So, that was pretty much what I was using. And
how long did it take you to go to the next level when you feel relaxed?
It took me about 1 year.
1 year.
About 1 year. Yes. It was hard, but honestly, as I kept seeing myself growing back to who I used to be, it was fantastic. And it just kept giving me more energy to keep going.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And right now, like, we have around 250 people working for us.
Really?
Yeah, and we have presence in all of Ibero-America.
That's impressive. And you started it by yourself?
No, I have a partner.
You have a partner?
I have a partner.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I learned, right? Like, we need to work with others in order to grow faster.
Yeah. That's amazing. That's impressive.
Yeah.
But it was back in San Francisco. And you are in Arizona again. What happened?
Oh my gosh. Well, San Francisco was great for me. It was a place where I learned to be by myself and enjoy myself. I remember I used to go to Pier 39 and walk all the way to Pier 1, the ferry.
I'm not really familiar with San Francisco now.
Well, I used to take the ferry to get to San Francisco because it was just a beautiful, it's like a
pier?
Like a pier with a lake, and then it's just beautiful, like very peaceful. And at that point I needed so much peace. That's why I love like water. Like water around me is like my place. That's how I find peace. And every time I used to go there, like it was just like taking myself to dates. So it was very nice to be in San Francisco. Like I revealed myself there, but I missed Arizona. The weather, I missed it so much. Like the sunlight. Back then, it was extremely like cloudy. So I don't know if it happens to you, but for me, when the sky is cloudy, it makes me feel sad.
Yeah,
like that.
It does. That's why I moved from Minneapolis to Los Angeles. Yeah, I like sun.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't need that at that point. I just wanted to be back here with the beautiful sunlight and then just keep going.
So you just moved back to Arizona because it didn't matter where to work from for you, right?
I'm sorry?
Because you work from your computer.
Yeah.
Using your computer. It didn't matter where you lived, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So you keep doing what you did before? You still have this company?
Correct. We still have this company running and growing, and also the nonprofit.
Nonprofit. You started a nonprofit. What kind of nonprofit?
It's to support survivors of domestic violence. And I actually found the way to work smart. Which is
Love it.
which is like through Acute Talent, we created a program that helps survivors to find jobs within corporations, and we also provide training for them so they can increase their income. And this helps a lot when it comes to cases of when they have cases where they are fighting for the custody of their children.
What qualifications do people need to have to apply for a job in your company?
So For this program for survivors, we don't need any experience. We train them. And we also coach them to have interviews, how to have interviews. We help them build their LinkedIn profile, resume. Like, we pretty much help them to do everything. It's a program that lasts about 6 months.
Okay.
It is a long time, I know, for many, but it is very worth it because you get a certificate, and then this certificate helps you to get employed. So our goal is that by the end of this program, the survivors get hired or placed within a company.
To be hired in your company or any other companies?
Any other companies. Like, we help them find a job during this period. We also, through Acute Talent, have a few partnerships, and they also support us in that case. Like, sometimes they tell us, you know what, I need 15 people that are IT support. So we started the training for survivors, for them to take these positions.
How can people find you?
So through social media, BAButterfly_org, that's the handle, or our webpage, www.babutterfly.org.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I feel like it's really amazing what you're doing because you're supporting people. And supporting people is the most important, especially when people are in the hard situations. You know it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And do you remember the hardest time in your life being as an immigrant here in the United States?
Yes. Where I didn't have anywhere to go after I left. And also not wanting to ask for help because I was embarrassed. I feel like that was my lowest point. That day when I left, I had to go to a homeless shelter because I didn't know what to do, right?
And did they help you?
They helped me.
How they help people?
They allow me to stay there.
Oh, just to stay?
Yeah. And then I didn't stay there for many days, but I do remember that. I didn't go to an actual place for domestic violence survivors because at that point I didn't know it existed or it does. They are like very secure locations, but in this case I went to an actual homeless shelter that helped me, and you just have to get there at certain time, and then you just have a place to sleep. You can get a place, like a steady place, and you pay a little bit of money just to help you. I don't know exactly how much because I didn't stay that long, but yeah, that was my lowest point. Like I felt like after having a lot, or at that point I felt like everything. I had everything and then I had nothing. That was like very shocking for me.
Did you want to come back to Mexico at that point? Still no?
No.
She's a tough one.
Correct. I was like, my family's there, my mom, my dad, and everything, but I'm a thriver. And I just can't allow myself to just quit. I need to at least put a fight for me to be like, okay, I need to just quit and just go back home. I couldn't do that.
Yeah, amazing. And did you have any funny situations with your language? Sometimes we speak and we say like wrong word in a sentence, and it means completely different.
Yes, absolutely. Many times.
What would you recommend to the people who are in the same situation?
Embrace yourself. Like, you are a Mexican,
Ukrainian.
So you just have to embrace it. We have an accent, and that's what makes us who we are, like this
just shows that we know one more language, right?
Yes, exactly. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, don't be afraid to speak, even if you make mistakes. People understand you, right?
Exactly. And I feel like, especially in this world right now, many people here in the U.S. come from so many other countries, and we all have an accent. Even people who live here, like you can tell people from, I don't know, Oklahoma, Missouri, LA.
They do have accents.
They have accents too, so it just happens.
Yeah. What do you think about the immigration situation in the U.S. right now?
Well, I feel like there's a lot of hate going, especially because it's a false misconception of what immigrants are. I feel like we as immigrants, believe it or not, love this country just as much because of all the opportunities that are given to us and that we earn because we're very hardworking. I feel like sometimes when you live in a place already, you don't value things. However, when you don't have them and then you start seeing them or earning them, you value them even more. So all the immigrants that are working and making this country better, we value this country. I'm gonna say it way better than people that have lived here all their lives.
Yeah, that's true, and I love that you're saying that.
Yeah,
it's like if you have a curly hair, you want a straight hair, you know?
exactly. Yeah, it happens like that.
It's with the life the same. Have you ever felt that you were treated in a bad way as an immigrant here in the United States?
If I've been treated bad? Yes, in the beginning. My English wasn't as good. So I did have a thicker accent. And I remember that I went to Subway. And I was like, okay, I want lettuce. I was just telling this girl. And she was making faces. And I felt like, it made me feel really bad. Yeah. But that was like the only situation. Other than that, I feel like in general, people I've met and people that I have surrounded myself with, mostly have been really good to me.
Awesome. It's good to hear. Yeah, I feel like the most of the people are good.
Yeah.
But we have some situations.
Yeah.
But I feel like those situations just make us stronger, right?
Absolutely. More strong.
And is there anything else you want to share?
Yes, I would love to say that us as immigrants should all be together and help each other to keep growing and support each other's initiatives. And not only immigrants, like even if you have lived here your entire life, like helping others is always something that's going to make you feel better. And it always comes back.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jessica.
Absolutely.
It was amazing. Thank you. And you are amazing.
So much. You too. Thank you very much.